Terrence Pop, Redonkulous.com, live from the Lair. And I'm going to answer a question. I got a couple of emails from guys who wanted to know what exactly snipers do. Now, you watch the movies and, snipers from, I imagine what you're talking about are guys that just go out and shoot people and that's all they do. Well, in all reality, that's actually a very, very small part of the actual job. Don't get me wrong, it's very important, but I'm going to go through some of the stuff that, we did as snipers on sniper missions in the past. I'm not going to use a lot of details, but typically you travel in 2 to 3 man teams. It all depends upon if you want to saturate an area. You'll send 3 to 4 2-man teams out. When I was a sniper section leader, I had me and my spotter and 3 other teams under my control. And a lot of times we'd be sent, if there was a big operation, by our company, we were sent between 2 and 3 days prior to the arrival of the company or the main element. And we were expected to recon that objective, basically, go all the way around it and note it on the map, check for the fields of fire, look for any of the positions that we would use it during the raid or assault on that objective. And we basically go to those areas and look, for ourselves, would the fields of fire actually work? Because when you're on the objective, and it's completely different when you're there looking at it with your own eyes than when you're looking at it on the map. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've seen things on the map like, oh, that looks easy, and then you show up and it's nothing but fucking rocks and holes in the ground and old barbed wire. I mean, you don't know. So we would do that. We would scout the assault lanes, basically determine, which way the assault line would come from, how the terrain would benefit them in that regard. We would note any obstacles, tanglefoot, pits, tank traps, concertina barbed wire. A lot of times if there's a minefield that's marked, and we would try to find those, hopefully not the hard way. Luckily, it all worked out, so we didn't have any problems like that. Let's see, you have to lay low. You're wearing a full ghillie suit, full camouflage, and it's pretty much the closest thing to invisibility there is. I love doing it. I mean, it gives you, you legitimately have just an ass load of power. You are the predator, and everyone around you is the prey. And, any military post or base or what have you, they always send out scout patrols, to go around and check what's going on. Now, human nature is human nature, and typically people, when they walk through, the wilds, they take the routes that are easiest to walk, so you can usually stay off those instead of the patrol's way. And they tend to send them out around the same time. So you just note how many people are on these patrols and the times that they go out, and then you have that intel ready for the main element when it arrives. Let's see, you locate their commo sites, and you determine if it's hardened or not and can be destroyed, if it can be reached with an anti-tank missile, or hit with 60mm mortar fire, or taken out with direct fire weapons. Typically, if it's in a hardened bunker, you're probably going to have to hit it with an anti-tank weapon, and nothing else is really going to dig it up too bad. Let's see. Okay, there's an important thing here is you locate all the crew-served weapons. Like they're heavy, medium machine guns, where they store the ammo, how often do they change out the security or clean the weapons, because it's U.S. doctrine, the weapons get cleaned every single day. Some other countries and other organizations that I've run across in my travels don't really follow that doctrine, so that's not really that important, but it is if they are disciplined and they do that, it's good to go. Let's see. Okay, then, when the main element does arrive, we would usually meet with them, guide them to the objective, right to the ORP. My teams would always have the sand table made. We'd have the objective all marked out on the map, marked out on the sand table, everything ready to go with, the assault line, support, and the security where they'll be placed, the lanes of travel, lanes of withdrawal, and all that other stuff. And that was pretty much what we would do. If we were allowed to or we were told to, we'd usually set up at the support elements and then support, the assault by direct fire means, and with our, sniper rifles with well-aimed fire. And those weapons, we had the M24, which was the 308 bolt action sniper rifle with the Leopold 10 power mil dot sights. My men always had their rifle zeroed at 500 meters, and then they adjusted off of the mil dots without really dialing in a lot of dope. Is that one of the best methods? No, it's just a technique. And the best method is knowing your rifle and changing the dope, for the ranges that you're shooting. But if you're up in the support elements, you don't have a lot of time for that. And, usually we would engage, the machine guns or take out the commo sites or, keep individuals from manning mortar pits and so forth. And then after it's over, we would still remain in the support and cover the withdrawal of all the men. And, a lot of times they'd run back to helicopters and fly away, and we'd still remain in the area for a day and a half, sometimes 2 days, for battle damage assessment, after action review, to see what was going on. We'd call it up, how the enemy was reacting to the attack and what they were doing to consolidate. And a lot of times, if a lot of troops were massing or coming to that area, to keep them from actually chasing the main element back, we would call indirect fire, and that would be it. The whole rifle thing that snipers do is just very, very minimal. Is it important? You bet your ass it is, but it's not everything. Some of the other missions that we would do would be harassment and destroy. Basically probe enemy positions. This is very dangerous. Usually we would do it at night. Now, in today's day and age with thermal and shit, it even gets way more dangerous because thermal's a bitch. You're really not going to hide from that. I'm trying to find the suit that does, but, I'll believe it when I see it. Okay, and this is more of a direct action one, like harass enemy soldiers, which is basically if you can see them and you think you can get away with shooting them, then that's what you do. It doesn't matter if you shoot them in the foot, in the hand, the arm, shoot the weapon that they're holding. It's all the same shit. And when I was doing the sniper thing, they didn't really have the Barrett 50 cal that was just coming online. Because one of the other missions in harass and destroy is basically destroy equipment. And that 50 cal machine gun, or that 50 cal Barrett sniper rifle, you shoot a machine gun in the receiver, it's deadline, it's done. Jeeps, any other lightly armored vehicles, you put one round in the engine block, it's over. That whole vehicle's deadlined. And if you should be so fortunate as to have an elevated position over an airfield, you can basically deadline every single aircraft that you see. Basically one round, into the avionics, which is usually you can see the seat where the pilot's supposed to sit, and you move forward about 3 feet and down a foot, and you put a round right through there, and you're pretty much going to screw everything the fuck up. And then put one in the engine, because the engines can be replaced as one whole element. That's how they're made usually in pretty much all of the NATO countries. I believe the Soviet Union did the same thing. But you put a round through one of those engines, it's a done deal. They have to basically pull that engine out. It's deadline and put a whole new one in. It's not so easy to fix the avionics. that requires taking the plane into the hangar and disassembling everything and then unfucking the spaghetti knot that you tied, under, in the cockpit right behind the actual instrument panel. All of the spaghetti works in there. Okay, another thing that, we would do is in-place mines, anti-tank, anti-vehicle, anti-personnel mines. That's a total bitch right there. First of all, those things are goddamn heavy. So 2 guys, you can maybe carry 2 anti-tank mines or maybe 6 anti-personnel mines reasonably, with still maintaining, carrying your weapon and enough rounds, to do what you got to do. The snipers, they don't wear armor. All right, there was no armor when I did it, and when I was over in Iraq, I really didn't see the snipers wearing a lot of armor, because the human body can only carry so much goddamn weight and deal with so much bullshit. So that's just the way it is. Basically, your stealth is your armor. Don't get seen, don't get shot, don't get killed. And one of the other, this is actually more of a common mission for snipers, recon routes to and from objectives, recon routes through hostile territory, moving a platoon, a company, or a battalion of men across, cross country, at best is tedious. Most of the time it's treacherous. Again, because the map doesn't really tell you exactly what's on the ground. And we would actually go, ahead of the main body, anywhere from 2 to 5 clicks, and radio back what was going on if there was, anything that would screw with us. For instance, if water obstacles are always slow and dangerous, and we check the depth, look for forwarding sites. If worse comes to worse, we would actually, cross the water obstacle and put the rope bridge in place and have the far end already secured when the main element arrived, and then it just made everything easier. If you're moving through enemy, enemy-held territory, there will always be obstacles. All right, now obstacles, ideally, they're supposed to stop you, but most of the time they just slow you down and they channel you into where the enemy wants you to be. Basically, where the big black X is, where everyone gets killed. So, yeah, that's another spooky thing about being a sniper is you will see a lot of that shit before the main body comes, and you'll have a bolt-action rifle, and your spotter will have like an M16 or M4 with probably 13 magazines, and you might have a pistol on top of a bolt-action rifle. So that's some pretty goddamn dangerous shit. Now, I did, the 2nd Ranger Battalion sent all of their snipers to the Marine Corps Sniper School. I believe, I want to say it was spring of '90 we went. It was back then at Pendleton, it was 4 weeks long. And we showed up at the end of week 1 because, week 1 of Sniper School back then was basically where they would weed everyone out and smoke the shit out of the Marines and see who would quit or who couldn't meet the strict shooting standards that they had. Since we weren't doing that bullshit, we just showed up at the end of week 1. And we did all of the rest of the Pendleton Marine Corps Sniper School, to include the stalks, which I think is some of the best sniper training I've ever done in my entire life. I did 3 other mobile training team train-ups as a sniper, and that was the most effective one. And there was another one we did at Fort Lewis, which was basically, we focused on night operations, but that was back before we had nods and stuff like that, so we didn't really have nods. I think on occasion I would have the one AN PVS, I think it was a 14, or the one that you hold over your eye. And to be honest, I hate night vision because it fucks. It's 2-dimensional. I just can't stand it. So I never really use it anyway. Anyway, that's answering the questions you guys asked in regards to sniper, operating as a sniper in the United States Army. It's pretty much it in a nutshell. There's some other missions you'll pull in there which fall under the harass and destroy or the recon routes, which is done inside a mount environment, and setting up mount hides and stuff like that. I did very little of that. Most of my stuff was like building a hide, you know, in woods or on prairies or in jungles. Never really messed around too much with mountainside or sniper operations inside a built-up urban environment. So I can't really answer a lot of those questions in that regard. Anyway, hope it worked out for you guys. You know, I'm going to upload this as soon as I can, and I'll talk to you guys later.